Rejoining us this weekend for our marketing roundtables, Don Close as well as Derrell Peel. Don, we talked about your price outlook, both you and Derrell, pretty bullish on prices, but I know you have a caveat when it comes to your outlook and the longevity of how long these strong cattle prices can last.
I do, and as impressive as the market is currently, I just have some concerns that particularly the futures market is getting too revved up too early. I think that could leave the market vulnerable to a correction of consequence. And the real beauty, as we've said several times now, of this inventory situation, it's the longevity that this rally could continue.
This one I think will last longer than the last time we did this. Again, we're starting, I think, at a different place, a much tighter situation from the standpoint of the female side of things. So I think this rally will last longer when we do get there. But again, we're not sure when that starts at this point. So you could be right that we're starting a little bit too quick off the mark here. I think the drought of 10 years ago is still pretty fresh in people's minds, and so we're trying to anticipate it. Maybe we're anticipating it a little quicker than Mother Nature is ready for us to act on.
Agreed.
But Don, another one of those bullish factors has been demand. I mean, when you look at export demand, you look at domestic demand, even though we have seen inflation take hold of a lot of different proteins, it really hasn't scared people away from the meat counter. So if we see demand start to falter at all here at home, do you think that will impact prices, or is supply so tight it won't matter?
I think it's fair to say we've seen some softening of demand. We've certainly come off that seasonal peak in demand for ribs coming backside of the holidays. But underlying demand base in this market is still remarkably good, even though it's off from its peak of mid-year last year. The other thing, I think the U.S. is entirely vulnerable to recessionary pressures in 23. But if you look at the jobs numbers that were released just this morning, I think even if we do have some recessionary pressure, it will probably be short and shallow. If you go through an airport, go try to get into a restaurant, the movement in the economy is still extremely good.
Derrell, do we know how much consumers are willing to pay? If we see cattle prices continue to climb, and that does translate into higher retail prices, and that continues to move higher, what is that threshold? What are the prices that consumers are willing to pay, and what are they not?
Well, the thing is, and so far through 2022, we had record beef production, record beef per capita, or not record, but, stronger per capita consumption. But going forward, beef production is going to fall. So supply will be tighter. So it's a question of sort of who will be, what subset of the market will be willing to pay those higher prices. I do think there will be some rationing, if you will, of tighter supplies. We won't have as much beef. So, overall per capita consumption is going to fall. So some folks probably will get priced out of the market, but that's part of what's necessary when there's a limited supply. And I think the end result will be, as Don suggested, that we will continue ultimately to push these prices higher.
One thing that I would add to that, if you look at where we have been this past year with the prime choice spreads up into the low 90s, the choice select spread is wide, ground beef demand still incredibly good. So I almost think when we talk this whole demand base, more so than the last time we were here, we need to look at that by category of product and see where that strength is, because we clearly have retail demand for that ultra high quality product that we didn't necessarily have in 2014.
Any caution flags when it comes to export demand? Do you think we're pricing ourselves out of the market there, Derrell?
Well, again, there's going to be less beef, so we probably will see exports pull down a little bit. It depends in part on the dollar. It has softened a little bit recently, so that takes away some of the headwinds of the strength of the dollar on top of the price levels that we have in the domestic market. So I wouldn't be surprised to see exports drop a little bit, but that doesn't necessarily mean that export demand is falling at all. I think the export demand will continue strong at this point in time. It certainly looks that way.
All right, Derrell, Don, thank you so much for joining us this weekend. We need to take a quick break, and then we'll have much more right here on U.S. Farm Report. Please stay with us.